Hello, you're welcome back to Project Management Demystified. Right, so this is episode 13 of reducing our carbon footprint. So in this episode, let's start going into what we call execution. So if you're familiar with a project management institute, project management framework based on PMBOK, project management body of knowledge, you know that the project life cycle is initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and then closing. And according to Prince 2, still kind of waterfall, we'll have the starting a project or pre-project or pre-initiation or something like that, then starting the project. And then you have in the middle directing and kind of monitoring. So let's get into that space now of directing the project, of executing. So initiating the project, we're thinking about what we want to achieve and validating ideas. Planning, we started putting things to paper and we're setting out what we want to achieve, laying them out clearly. So agile planning this thing and breaking things down, doing some value slicing, and then waterfall list of plans and requirements that we want to achieve. So during execution in a traditional world, what we will now be doing, PMI calls it breaking down work packages and executing the work. So say for instance, we have planned that department A will do X, Y, and Z. So the project management professional will be managing and overseeing and directing to be sure that department A is doing the XYZ that they planned to do. So that's what the execution or the directing or the managing of the project is about. And how do you go about this? It's more around not bossing people around. No, it is making people understand and remember the vision of the project, the goal of the project. It's more about taking people on a journey. So we have said we want to achieve this thing. We've been coming all the way, and here we are. We have to start getting these things on track, in progress, as we have agreed to do. So that's happening in a traditional world. So all the things that we've planned, we are now carrying them out. It could happen that we might plan to do something in 2 weeks, but we're coming to realize that it will take 3 weeks. So that's where the monitoring and controlling comes in. So monitoring that the work that we plan to do, we're on track with it. And if we're not, then we're taking the right actions to get ourselves back on track. In an agile world, what has been planned is now being worked on. So we'll be working in, say we're using Scrum, for instance. We'll be working in sprints. So in sprint, let's say we have 2-week sprints. We'll now start prioritizing. There will be a backlog of list of things that we want to do. We'll now start picking things based on priority and start delivering them. So in the first, we'll have a sprint planning, sprints, all the events. And in the first 2 weeks, for instance, we might say we want to establish how the team will interact with department X. That's a goal. So there are a number of ways we can look at this. The project could be actually reducing carbon footprint in real time, or the project could be setting up a strategy, a long-term strategy for the organization to be reducing carbon footprint. So what do I mean? Like the example of sending out 5 million letters in a year and stopping that. So that's something that the project is doing, and we're stopping it right there and then. But it could also happen that we will now, going forward, make sure that letters are no longer being used. So there are a number of ways we can look at this, but what the project management professional is doing during execution is just going around in minds and going around physically doing some Gemba walk, and checking that things are going and are progressing the way we expect. If there are any issues, if there are any risks, the project management professional is capturing those and managing them as they should be managed. Maybe in the next episode we can share some of the example of risks, for instance, that could come up, and how the project management professional will catch or capture them or identify them, and how they'll manage it through the project's journey. Let's leave it there for today, and then I'll see you on the other side. Cheers. Bye bye.